Hey Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Cody Delmendo and Luke Stuckmeyer here with you after the Cubs lose 4-3 to the Pirates in the first of a 4-game set with Pittsburgh at Wrigley Field. Cubs and Pirates now both 6-7 on the season. Cubs below the 500 mark for the first time this season. And Cody, this was an ugly one. And everything that we've talked about that's been good going into this game was exactly the opposite in this game. It's like the Cubs forgot all of the praise we were heaping on them for the first 12 games, and on unlucky number 13, it went downhill quickly.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly, Luke.
Was I too negative?
No, you were right. And yeah, I sit on this show and I've been, trying to be as positive as possible. But tonight, the Chicago Cubs said, hey, we really are this. That's what they tried to tell us tonight.
If Denny Green were alive, he would say the Cubs are who we thought they were.
Yeah, they are who we thought they were. It's the unfortunate feeling of that's how I feel right now. And it is just the game just ended, but this is how I feel right now. Maybe it's because it's the Pirates. Maybe it's just because I don't know. There's just no life out of the offense tonight.
No,
I don't know.
Well, it was the Pirates.
I think
we've made fun of the Pirates the entire month before the season started about how they weren't even trying. And what have I said all off season? I said if you're going to compete for playoff spots, you have to be better against the Brewers and Cardinals, but you've got to also dominate the teams that aren't trying. Yeah. Pittsburgh. So far they have a losing record again. I know it's a small sample size. I'm just saying, but you can't afford to, split with the Pirates all the time.
Right.
They're not even trying.
Yeah. Yeah, what I don't understand tonight is how we have a 3-run lead, and Mark Leiter Jr. actually was okay.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but he's not the reason they lost.
Right. He gave up the home run to Vogelbach. But then, and I've been, if you listen to this show every day, I'm high on Ethan Roberts. Ethan Roberts comes in, gets into some trouble, and then before he gives up the runs, he throws all cutter, that entire inning. He threw 25 cutters, according to what I read online. And
which is always true.
And the way that he pitched, the last guy he faced, the cleanup hitter, I forget how you say his name, but the guy he faced that shot it to right field, he threw it in the exact same spot 7 times.
CHGO.
Thank you. How do you say it?
CHGO.
CHGO?
I believe.
Okay. Yes, to that hitter. He threw the exact same pitch 6 or 7 different times. And Willson Contreras went out to the mound.
Maybe it was the only pitch they had confidence in there. It was odd.
But just those are the little things that you're especially with Contreras, you're this is your veteran catcher. This is the guy that me, you, anyone else who wants a little bit of 2016 to still be on this team has been sitting here talking about why we need to extend him and all that. And I still want to extend him. But tonight, that moment alone is just kind of one of those, what are we doing?
Yeah, the only thing I can guess is that that's the only pitch he felt comfortable throwing. But if that's the case, then you got to get somebody warming up. You can't just keep throwing the same pitch. It reminded me of when Carlos Marmol would throw the same pitch over and over, and it wasn't working, and fans would pull their hair out and be like, stop.
Well, the thing is that he not only did he throw the pitch over and over, he threw it over and over in the same location.
Yeah.
You just can't do that at the major league level. So, you give up those 2 runs, and then it's still early, right? We're right there. Only one run down, and then suddenly the Pirates bullpen turned into God. What was it? What was the graphic? 5.
We have it coming up here. No, I mean, they were outstanding, their bullpen. Guys, Will Crow, a former starter, is now the most innings in baseball without an earned run this season. He's up to over 12 innings this season, not a single run. He had 5 strikeouts and 2 1/3. Peters came in and did a job. Henry came in and did, and then Bednar in his inning and a third looked unhittable at points. He came in, bang, bang, bang.
He struck out Suzuki on 3 fastballs.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Suzuki. He did not have a good game, obviously. Harley brings up, you mentioned the 3-0 lead. Harley says this is the third game this year. They've had a 3-run lead and lost. Now, again, we will say that although they blew a 3-0 lead, I don't think bullpen strength is one of the bigger problems on the team for this season. So, again, it's one game out of a huge sample size, but it is the third time they've blown a lead, a 3-0 lead. And, Cody, the crazy part is they struck out 12 times. They used 7 pitchers, the Cubs, and they still had a chance to win. Why? Because they were playing the Pirates.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
If it wasn't the Pirates, this would not have been close.
Right. Yeah.
No offense to the Pirates.
No.
Maybe a little offense to the Pirates.
Maybe a little offense.
A little bit.
Like I said, I think I said in pregame, or I even might have said it on the bet show today too. I didn't feel like insanely confident going into this game because the Pirates just got swept by the Brewers, and it's baseball. Sometimes when you're due, right? But the way that the Cubs lost tonight was just really, really frustrating. And, you know, I feel like any loss the Cubs are going to have to the Pirates this year, I'm just going to be really frustrated because it's just going to be another moment of, okay, you know, this is going to go against them, and it's going to be one that we look back at the end of the year like, oh, this is why we didn't make the playoffs because of these number of losses against the Pirates. So, you know, it is what it is.
I'm not surprised that the chat, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, switch on over to YouTube. You can see the chat there.
Yeah, we can't see your comments if you're putting them on Twitter.
We'll read some of them, but like I'm not surprised it's negative, you know. There's some bullpen hate in there.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Suzuki thing real quick.
Okay.
Ryan brings up a good point. He says Suzuki's never been at DH, not this early in his career, shouldn't be there, totally threw him off. I don't know if that's it, but I mean, I was going to come out here and just joke about that. Like, boy, they should never put him at DH again because all the things we bragged about Suzuki were totally the opposite tonight, right? I picked him as my he was the last guy left, and I was like, well, how can you not for who you got? You know, we pick our players. Right. I don't know that anybody won. We should all take an L on this one. I said, well, how can you not take the best hitter in baseball right now? He's been this breath of fresh air, yada, yada, yada. He's amazing. He never swings out of the zone. He was swinging out of the zone. He did come up with an RBI. He did put the ball in play to get an RBI, one of the 3 runs they scored, but he struck out 3 times. And I don't know, maybe that was something, or maybe it was facing the Pirates for the second time.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the Pirates had a little scouting, so maybe this is the first chance.
This was the first time that Suzuki had gone up against
a team that he's seen before, that already played.
Exactly. Thank you for saying it.
I mean, potentially this is the start of scouting and a little time of advanced scouting so that they can take time, and now maybe he'll have to make an adjustment. I don't know. Maybe it was just a bad night. Regardless, I don't want to see him at DH anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely put him back in right field tomorrow. I don't know. Let's just say maybe the DH putting him in DH was a thing, but I genuinely don't really think it was at the end of the day. Like I do think it's more so of the Pirates had some scouting on him.
Right.
But like Bednar, the third strikeout Suzuki had, 3 fastballs, first 2 basically middle of the plate. He let the first one go by, which I would assume was basically an automatic take. Swings at the second one, third one, high inside fastball, top of the corner, swung right through it.
Right.
Like, I just thought that was just better pitching than Suzuki because he's in the DH. You know what I mean? Like, again, not a great night, and we're not used to Suzuki bad nights. This is probably his worst game of his major league career.
Oh, it is.
But
yeah.
Again, I'm not against just putting him. I'm not against putting him in the DH again. Obviously not tomorrow, maybe not for a few more days, but like.
Yeah, I'm only partially joking about that.
Right.
I wouldn't put him at DH.
I don't think Ryan is joking about it in the comments though. So that's why I'm
No.
saying that I think that it's mainly because of scouting. And again, we're going to have to go through that eventually. He's not going to, play like he did those first 12 games for 162. So the thing that sucks, honestly, at the end of the day is like he had that game and then the Cubs offense was just if he doesn't play well, then the Cubs offense is just nothing, it seems like. And they did get some walks tonight. Ian Happ had 2 walks tonight. They manufactured runs.
Look at you coming up with something positive about this game. Cody, if
I
you're
hate it.
If you're a Cubs fan and you're watching the game tonight, this was a complete buzzkill.
Oh, yeah.
If you were at the ballpark, you've waited all spring for nice weather. You get a beautiful day at the ballpark. You have a 500 club team that's exceeded expectations for the first 12 games. And then you have one of the worst teams in your division coming in, one of the worst teams in the National League coming into play for 4 games. And you figure, well, they should feast on these guys, or they need to feast on these guys. Not only do they lose, they blow a 3-0 lead. Their star player strikes out 3 times. They strike out 12 times. And the way they score their 3 runs, let's see, they walked in a run, a fielder's choice,
right,
and a sacrifice fly. Name me the other boring ways to score in baseball. Like,
probably a balk.
The 3 runs were as boring as you can get, right?
Yeah.
Like, so balk would be probably the most boring I can think of.
Yeah. Or
what's another one? Like, if you're on the
into
chat,
a double
like
play and scoring.
yeah, there you go. That's essentially a fielder's choice.
even like a drop third strike scoring a run would be
Yeah.
more exciting because somebody's running. Like,
Right.
a sac fly is generally boring.
Yeah.
A walk in the run, I got it. Joe Madden's intentional walk with the bases loaded. But at least it would give you something to talk about. Like,
Right.
those 3 runs are snoozeville. Don't get me wrong, I love baseball. There are always games during a season where you're like, wow, I almost fell asleep during that game because baseball is a slower sport. This felt like a game in mid-August against the Pirates where both teams are out of it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just disappointing to see the way they performed with a division team coming in for the first of 4 games.
Yeah.
And a chance to really kind of say, all right, the first 12 games, that's what we really are. Instead, they flipped the script, and now you wonder, well, what's going to happen the rest of this series? You hope they flip the script.
Yeah.
And I know it was only just 1 game. I'm just saying it was an ugly game.
It was. And I know we have ugly games all season. You can't, like, this Cubs team, and I think we've said it before on the show, is like, there's just very little room for error. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
When the Pirates come to town, you got to take 3 or 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you couldn't win 2 out of 3 against the Rays. If they had swept Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh a week ago, you could have afforded the losing 2 out of 3 against the Rays this week. Now that they lost 2 or 3 against the Rays, there's more pressure on them to play well in this series, and that's just the way it is. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, so, it is what it is. Like, they got to come out and play harder tomorrow and the rest of the weekend because, like, the schedule does get tough, and it doesn't look great, and it doesn't make me smile at all. So, it's 1 game at a time. It's, keep growing, keep trying to find positives from this team for sure. But, yeah.
I've seen some comments. I saw somebody earlier saying, hey, they've scored runs. They're good. The offense looks good in the first 11 games. I agree, and that's why this game was – Marcus said that. That's the positive that was coming into this, and that's why I thought with the Pirates coming in, they would build on that foundation. And instead you got this game where Joe DiGiacomo points out the whole game was snoozeville. The dead ball and shift continues to make baseball boring.
Yeah.
In games like this, I'm not going to disagree with you. And I totally agree with you, Cody, when you talk about they have a small margin for error, the Cubs. the way the team is built, it's not necessarily built to win. It's not built to win the World Series this year. It's built to find out what pieces you have moving forward until the next wave of really good Cubs prospects become professional players at the major league level. And Suzuki has been a nice piece early on. Happ has been really good early on. Wisdom has been playing much better. You've had a lot. Keegan Thompson's been a bright side. But the team also has many, many question marks at every position on the field, basically, including Suzuki, because you don't know what, maybe the 11-game sample size isn't enough. I think it is, just the way it's gone. But, the margin of error is very small. And you can't go out there and not have somebody covering third base because the shift was on and you don't know who's supposed to be over at third and give the guy an extra base. Yesterday, the day before, it was poor play at third base by VR, who's been very good at the plate, and they gave some runs away. They have to play really good fundamental baseball for this team to be in it every night. And I suppose that's true for a lot of teams. But sometimes your talent is so great on the roster that you can overcome those things. And I don't think this roster is necessarily that.
Yeah. I tweeted the video earlier, the Brian Reynolds triple. It was the most MLB The Show thing I have seen in an actual MLB game, because he just that's just heads up base running, honestly. And I know the Cubs had the shift on that play, but that's just the lack of communication on the field, right? And to me, we haven't seen a lot of boneheaded mistakes like that. It's more so if they, an error or, Yan Gomes failing to make a good throw down to second base. Right. That was the first time I really can think to my head, that was just lack of communication on making sure someone's covering third base. So, that is what it is. I just think that's really good heads up base running. But yeah, no, you're exactly right though. And
Harley, I love your positivity.
If we want to, he says, if we want to look at something positive, the series is still very much up for grabs. Hopefully we can bounce back with these next 3 games. And I mean, yeah,
it is.
He's right.
I would have liked, if you're the Cubs, you're hoping you sweep the Pirates and maybe they're going to be better than we think. They have a couple nice hitters. I don't ever expect their bullpen to do what they just did, but they had a couple guys that just, as the kids say, shoved. They had the Cubs hitters just completely baffled.
Yeah, I mean, there's still probably
Will Crowe. He looked like Cy Young out there.
Yeah, there's still probably somewhere between a 60-70 win team. But again, it doesn't matter how many games they're going to win. They are like a competitive team. I think they're going to be more competitive this year than the Reds, and I know that's not saying much, but when you have, up and coming pieces like they have, like we've talked about, they're going to have nights like this. So again, I'm still just as pissed off about it. But I don't know. I think one of the biggest things that I feel like we haven't even really touched on too is this game took forever. And I don't even understand why it took forever, because I felt like the Cubs were just getting mowed down.
It took forever because the Cubs had 7 pitchers in the game.
That too.
Changing pitchers takes a long time, and when you're warming up a new guy and bringing him in, there were a lot of pitching changes.
It's just the game dragged because of that. And here's something we haven't talked about. Madrigal pinch hitting for Wisdom later in the game. Someone mentioned
you were hoping Madrigal was going to be.
Yeah, but I didn't.
In the starting lineup.
I wasn't hoping that he'd get pinch hit for Wisdom, though, who's been one of your best hitters over the last week.
Yep. He's been hot.
And there's been some slander in the comments for David Ross. Everyone's always going to nitpick at the lineup and complain about the lineup and where people are at and where guys are playing positions and all that. I get it. I'm with you, and I understand people's criticism. And I'm not saying you can't criticize. But if there's one thing tonight that David Ross pissed me off with, was taking Wisdom out of the game for Nick Madrigal. If you're going to put Madrigal in the game, put him in for VR or whoever. you got to leave Wisdom in the game. He's one of your few power threats, and he's been hitting the ball.
And they're only down 1 at that point.
Right.
Home run ties it.
Right.
He is going to be tested more than he's ever been tested as a major league manager this year.
Probably.
Because he's going to have to make multiple decisions every game that will be judged and nitpicked by fans depending on the outcome. And even sometimes when it goes well, he's going to be nitpicked on those decisions by the fans because of the outcome. He can't just plug in the same guys every day. Javi's not at short every game. I think Brendan and Corey mentioned this too. You don't have Anthony Rizzo at first every game. You don't have Chris Bryant to put anywhere in the every day he's not in the lineup. This is a collection of guys that have something to prove, but that means they're also not necessarily proven, Yeah. So he's literally trying to play fantasy baseball with a lineup every single day to make sure enough guys get enough at-bats, enough playing time so that they can evaluate whether or not that guy is a real player before they decide to move on from that player.
Yeah.
And he is going to manage the game differently. We saw that. I mean, he managed it perfectly the other day when he took Hayward out, brought Wisdom in for the pinch hit. He hits a home run, and everybody loves the decision. This time, he takes Wisdom out, he brings in Madrigal, and now people aren't very happy.
Right.
But
again, I'm not even mad that
that's why he gets paid. Don't get me wrong. That's why he gets paid. But he's going to have a tough job this year.
Right. Again, not mad that he brought Madrigal in. I'm more mad that he brought Madrigal in and took Wisdom out.
Right.
I think in that instance, you got to – I know VR's been hitting as well, but, man, like Wisdom really is like one swing of the bat type guy. VR almost hit – he had 2 mashed baseballs right in the gloves tonight too. So, I mean, who knows? All I know is that Wisdom, the way Wisdom is swinging the bat, he's got to be in the lineup until, further notice, in my opinion. It is what it is.
Who are these comments out
Ravi
there?
in our chat. He's been
Ravi's
going
off.
Ravi's firing.
I'm just letting
some
Ravi
guy
go
Cody
off.
_CHGO says hit the like button, guys.
Hit the like button, please. I appreciate it. It helps other Cubs fans on YouTube find us. Yeah, what's Joe got to say? He said, why would Tom and Jed put him in this position? Small market mindness from ownership. That's not fair to Ross. There's a lot of talk about Ricketts in the comments tonight, too.
Well, we said watching the game, I said, listen, this is an ugly game. The chat is not going to be a happy place, and Twitter is not going to be a happy place.
They want a new manager. They want new ownership. They want a complete overhaul today.
That's right.
13 games in.
Right.
I would suggest that we've been very blessed with positive storylines generally for the first dozen games of the season.
Yeah, I mean,
and this was one that you can't spin too many things. I will be curious. We're hoping that Ryan Herrera is going to be able to join us before the podcast is over, and he's in the clubhouse working. You'll be able to read his work at allchgo.com. He's in the clubhouse. He's listening to Ross. We'll see if he comes on and has some answers from David Ross about what went wrong in this game, but there were a few things that went wrong. How did your bets do?
Oh, boy. I went 0 for 3 tonight on the Cubs game.
You did call I said, should we go with the scoreless first inning bet? And you said no.
No.
So
we avoided it.
That went well, at least.
Yeah, so at least I saved $10 there. But I made all my bets on PointsBet, which is the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. And you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. I've been living my bet life. Luke's sort of living his bet life. So you can all join us. Just use code CHGO
Win some, I lose some.
to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Ravi, hold on. 2 things. First, Steven, before we move on, can you find us like a weed whacker sound effect and potentially a lawnmower sound effect?
I'll see what I can do.
See what you can find. What did Ravi is saying on the chat, that McDonald's was a cultural icon across the street from Wrigley. Adding that ugly hotel makes that area feel so cluttered.
Oh, my God.
Now, there's a
really
take I wasn't expecting today. Ravi's had some good ones, but I don't know about that McDonald's being a cultural icon and the hotel being hideous.
Oh, gosh.
And they still have the McDonald's. There's a newer McDonald's, right?
Yeah, there is a McDonald's. It's
cleaner.
It's right there and right by the hotel.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, support for CHGO tonight is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code CUBS at manscaped.com. Cody, help me out with some of this. The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, it's a game changer. Yeah. Inside this package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, good for old guys like me, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
Yeah, I got the briefs, and I got that 4.0 lawnmower. That thing gets the job done, makes it all so easy. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Man, what's going on, Steven? You're distracted by our lawnmower reads? I thought we were going to have lawnmowers and weed whackers. This is our first shot at this. We're going to...
The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0, like I said, is waterproof. Also has a
huge,
yes, is a huge deal. 400K LED spotlight. You need a more precise shave.
Yeah, if you need like a flashlight and a magnifier, this thing's got it all for you. If you want to make sure you're getting it all correct.
Right. It's very precise. I feel like is the great word to use. So because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game even further, Luke.
Yeah, of course you do.
To the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. You got any?
I had a stray hair coming out of my nose a couple weeks ago. I thought, because without my readers, I can't see this stuff anymore, and this thing was coming out like a cobra out of my nose. I finally got it, but now I've got something that I can just,
It's very easy to use.
It's a routine I can get into, right? The Weed Whacker, I can get up there.
So the Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. Their Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver
what an invention that is, huh?
Toner, insane. Yes.
I lived 49 years my life, and then I hit 50, and I thought, what do I want in the next 50 years? And the first thing that came to my mind was I want a crop preserver.
Yeah, right.
And now I've got it. So
congratulations. I got one too. Our entire office has them. So shout out to all of us. These things will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. And trust us when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag. Like I said, the Boxers are very, very comfortable. Bring your comfort and Boxers to another level.
Are you wearing those right now, or are you commando for this podcast?
I'm going to not answer that question, Luke.
That's good. Keep that to yourself.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Cubs at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code Cubs. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. For our first time, that wasn't too bad.
No, I mean, really, all of that stuff that comes in that package. And again, they give you a bag to carry it all in, which is nice, you know. There it is.
There it is.
Now, is that...
We got it, guys.
That's the noise I'm looking for when I get the nose hair trimmer out, you know. And the older you get, it's crazier. The less hair you have on your head, the more hair you have in your nose and in your ears. So you need this. That's what you need is the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. It's all part of the 4.0 package.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
Good stuff.
And the ball deodorant.
Use code Cubs at Manscaped. It's a great deal.
Again, I hit 50, and I thought, what else could I have in my life that I don't already have? And then ball deodorant.
Ball deodorant,
Game
baby.
changer.
Game changer. I love it. Okay.
So, speaking of down on the farm, let's talk down on the farm.
God,
that's a professional
what a transition,
right
folks.
There.
What a transition.
Speaking of down on the farm, let's talk about the Iowa Cubs.
Caleb Killian tonight?
While there were some things that didn't go as well for the Major League franchise today, Steven's giving us a little light on the set here. If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, wow, that something just brightened up there.
Suddenly get lighter in here? Wow.
It wasn't just that Manscaped read. It was the topic is going to get much brighter now for you. A lot of guys had good games at the minor league level, and we keep talking about how that's going to be as important as what's going on at the major league level, you know, this season and maybe even part of next season. Yep. Caleb Killian, that's a guy you're high on. He had a good night.
Yeah, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. So for the season, that was his 3rd start. For the season, he's pitched 11 and 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned, 13 strikeouts, 4 walks, 1.54 ERA. He's in Iowa. He is a guy I think we see later in the year. It's good to see. I think the one thing from his start tonight, from what I was reading, that I guess we can be a little nitpicky about is there's a lot more contact than what we would expect from someone from him. So, obviously we want to see more swing and miss. But, other than that, it's still a solid start for him. So.
DJ Hurst, 4 no-hit innings.
Yep.
He was good.
Yeah, DJ Hurst.
That's another guy people are excited about.
19, 20 years old, somewhere around there. Dude won Cubs minor league pitcher of the year last year. Great kid from the time I talked to him. And he's in South Bend, I believe.
Is Ed Howard, right? That's the local
Howard.
guy.
Yeah, Ed Howard, the Chicago kid. He hit a homer tonight. And then Tennessee, they combined for 5 homers tonight. 2 of them came from Christopher Morel and Nelson Velazquez. Velazquez, if you remember, Arizona Fall League, he was a monster there. So that's a good sign. Honestly, I'm not sure why he's in Double-A. Probably should be in Triple-A. Our friend, and we hope to have him on the show sometime, Brian Smith from Bleacher Nation, he believes that Morel, Velazquez, Chase Strumpf, and Nelson Maldonado and Darius Hill, who all hit homered tonight for the Smokies, should be in Iowa. So
we got another friend here right now.
We got Ryan here.
Oh, I see Ryan.
2 minutes too late to get in on the Manscaped read.
That's all right.
We were trying to save it for you.
He's wearing his Hawaiian shirt on a perfect night.
Yeah,
nice.
I was looking forward to you to listening to your Manscaped ad read. So I'm gonna have to go back and read this.
It was our first try. It wasn't exactly our best smooth one, so we got some work to do.
Steven was late with the sound effects on the lawnmower.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get a weed whacker sound by the next time we do it. Hey, Ryan, I want to read Corey Friedman's latest tweet. Me, all winter. God, I have no life without baseball. I need this season ASAP. Me, after the Cubs lose a winnable game in April to the Pirates. Maybe sports were a mistake. Really, that kind of sums up what Cody and I have been talking about.
Basically the same thing.
While you were in the clubhouse, is that the first 12 games gave so many reasons for optimism, and then this game was like everything in those first 12 games were forgotten. There were 12 strikeouts by Cubs hitters, and then the Pirates bullpen just shut them down, and they blew a 3-0 lead. What was the reaction like after the game? I would assume it's not panic because it's just one game, but what did David Ross have to say?
Yeah, basically, it's kind of, again, like you said, it's the 13th game of the year. It's definitely not time to panic. He used a lot of those bullpen arms. He's trying to get out there with David Robertson in the 9th. Actually, I kind of asked him about it, and all these guys up in the bullpen came out in high leverage spots. Ethan Roberts obviously they were up or run when he came in. And then the rest of the guys in the bullpen, Chris Martin, Michael Givens, David Robertson, all came in high leverage areas. And he said, situations like this kind of help, he starting to figure out who he trusts in certain situations, stuff like that. This kind of stuff obviously helps early in the season. We know it's a development year. So trying to figure out what he's got in a lot of these guys, a lot of these arms. But I think, it's just one of those games where they got 3 hits in the first 2 innings, 3 runs, and then had 1 hit the rest of the game. He just said, there were some guys that thought they could do damage on, ended up not like Crow, thought he had something against Crow, and they didn't. And so, it's, the vibe's kind of like it's just one of those games, it's the 13th game of the season. This was bound to happen after how good or how consistently, the offense had been able to put, string together good at-bats and stuff through the first couple weeks of the season. So, yeah, like you said, Luke, not time to panic or anything, and there's definitely no
talking
panic
me off the ledge.
One of those games, man. It's just one of those games, and on 162 you're going to get that. So, I don't think no one's down there is panicking or anything. It's just come back. I was gonna say come back tomorrow, but the tarp's on the field right now, so we might have to come back for a double on Saturday. Actually,
yeah, it doesn't look. The forecast doesn't look great for tomorrow. Do you think David Ross will put Suzuki at DH anytime soon, or is that just a coincidence that he struck out 3 times and had his worst game when he was DHing for the first time?
I think it's just a coincidence. I don't know. He kind of got asked about it, and it was like that. Suzuki faced good pitchers. They were coming at him. Maybe the Pirates had some scouting report from the first few series on Seiya that they knew. They faced him already a couple times, so maybe they knew something and were able to. Maybe there's like a little spot there they saw, like, hey, we can attack this. Struck out twice, obviously. So, maybe he'll DH him again. I think it's just a coincidence. But
we were saying the same thing.
Again.
Go ahead. No, I said we were just saying the same thing, that maybe this is the team. He hasn't faced a team a second time around. Maybe it's time for an adjustment. Maybe one of the teams found something that they'll go to until he stops it. And that's just part of the ebb and flow of a major league season and a major league career. So we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's and then you see it all the time that the NL Central teams always Cody was saying when they went to Pittsburgh last week, that's like, oh, for some reason these guys are going to shove against Seiya after he looked so good against the Brewers, right? And they do it again. So I don't know. Seiya. He's not going to have – Michael Jordan didn't have a great game every time he played. Seiya Suzuki wasn't going to go 2 for 3 or whatever, get on base 3 times every single game, though. So,
you just compared Seiya Suzuki and Michael Jordan. So because of that, I have completely flipped script and believe that we're back. I'm ready to go win tomorrow.
You're gonna send a fax. We're back.
Yeah.
Period.
I'm gonna send a fax. I'm just gonna tweet it from the CHGO Cubs account on Twitter. Because according Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I make that comparison. I make that comparison when I was still in school and I would get like a C on a test. Like, Michael Jordan didn't have his best day every time.
I know, bro. I
But
know.
no,
It's all good.
Go ahead.
no, yeah. So we'll come back tomorrow. Hope again, weather permitting, come back tomorrow, and definitely we'll see what Rossi decides to do. Maybe he puts Seiya back in right field. I think it's just a coincidence. I don't think Seiya coming out of the field has any impact on it. But you see he's still shuffling that lineup around, and still trying to figure out what works best, what as far as positioning, places in the lineup. We actually did earlier today, and this actually may have a little bit of an impact, but I know. So when they start putting Seiya into the 2-hole, and Ross is like, it's our Mike Trout bats, like it's easy sell like that. But I guess that's Seiya, and I think I can't remember who had talked. It might have been Taylor McGregor had talked to Seiya, and he said that like kind of in Japan it's a little different, and that's not where like the Mike Trouts of the world hit, or something. It was something along those lines. And so like being in the 2 holes is a little bit of an adjustment for him. So maybe that could have had an impact on his day today, possibly. Again, it's game 13. We're barely 2 full weeks into the season. I think Seiya will be in a good place the next time he gets to go on base or to the plate.
Right. So when we first started, I went on a rant about how Ethan Roberts threw 25 cutters and that last at bat he had against how do you say his name?
Suzuki.
He threw like 6 straight in the same exact location. Did anyone ask about like just that sequence that Roberts had with him to kind of give any kind of clarification to why maybe they did that? Because I know Contreras did go out to he had a mound visit with him, and they were trying to make sure they were on track with each other. So clearly Contreras was behind it, I guess. And to me, I just don't understand why you would throw 6 straight pitches, the same pitch in the same exact location. Yeah.
We talked to Ethan not that long ago, and he said that it might have been more his call, but he said he saw a hole right there at the upper corner of the box where you could see where he's trying to get it. And I think he's like, if I hit that spot, it's a pop out, it's a swing and miss or something. Obviously, the one that Zatugo hit was a little more middle, a little more in. So it's more of a miss of where he wanted to get it. But yeah, I think it was more Ethan Roberts who was trying to get that cutter or fastball, whatever you want to call it, up in that zone, that little right-hand part of the box, up and away from where Zatugo was, and so put the bat on the ball and got it, obviously. And then it was a little bit of a miss. It was more middle, more lower than where he wanted it to be. So, it seemed like he was just trying to establish that, and you could see he got it a little. He was a little higher, a little more out earlier in that at bat, and then that there's the 6th one, I think, was the one that just kind of came a little too far in, and that's the one that Suzuki obviously dumped in the left field, I think, for that double. So, yeah, that's I tweeted it out, and I got a lot of stuff. People like, why would you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not Ethan Roberts. Let me ask him. But yeah,
that's why I'm asking you, because I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I that was the first thing that I was complaining about tonight. So,
it just seems like he was trying to establish that part, and as he was establishing it, or he saw something that if he could hit this spot, it would result in in his mind a strikeout, a pop out, just not a good bat on the ball. And obviously he didn't hit the spot in the 6th one, and that's just kind of where the rest went.
How crazy was that play where Brian Reynolds goes racing around second base and goes into third? I didn't know what was going on at first.
Oh, like I said, Cody might know on MLB The Show when your guys are you send your guy to second base, okay, he's going to slide in the second, quick double, all of a sudden he just keeps running. He just keeps running. He doesn't even break stride. Just keeps going. You're like, what the hell's going on? That's what it looked like to me until I saw that third base was wide open. Yeah. And then the weirdest part was that ball was so far in on him. It looked like it almost hit him in the hands and just popped over to third base where no one was. So it was as far as where you want to pitch with the shift on, it was a good pitch. It just got it and knocked it where no one was. And then kind of asked, who was supposed to be at third. We asked Ross that, and he's like, it's probably Rowan Wick. Just as far as like when you put the heavy shift on. Let me see if I can. He's like when you put the heavy shift on, and this kind of usually part of the pitcher's job, but the shift wasn't as heavy. Like it wasn't. It's like the situation was a little different, and then sometimes just instinctively, like because you had a lot of guys on that side that could have backed up second base, which was where Rowan Wick ended up, was backing up second base. It looked like, and so maybe he's like maybe that's just like instinctually, on like a regular old play, that's where he would go. And so maybe his instincts just kind of took over, and that's why Rowan Wick was not covering third on that. I think that was supposed to be where Rowan Wick should have been at third. I guess in that situation. So weird play, crazy play. But I guess, that again, we talked about Brian Reynolds was the all-star on the Pirates and he actually deserved to be there. There you go.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just another reason that the shift is the worst.
The worst.
The worst. Can't wait for it to go away. So we get Smiley and Quintana if they play the game tomorrow. Ryan, for your sake, I'm hoping that if it's going to rain like they say it's going to rain tomorrow, that they just call the game before we all sit around and you're sitting at Wrigley Field for like 9 hours. Can we all agree that that would be a good plan?
Yeah, you and me both, my friend. I hope that it'll be called before I leave my house tomorrow morning, but if it's not, I will be here doing some fun stuff.
Well, or if it's not, just play the game and it's not raining that bad. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Like, I'd like to see the game if it's not going to rain, but if it's going to rain and you're going to cancel it, let's cancel it before the game as opposed to like a 9-hour day at the ballpark for you.
Yeah. And, maybe it's also different with the Pirates in town. It's like that's a team that's going to be back at Wrigley at some point versus like the Rays yesterday.
Why couldn't you play 2 on Saturday?
Right.
It's supposed to be perfect on Saturday. Why not play a night game Saturday night? Get special approval.
I would be opposed to that, but I'm not working Saturday. Jerry's going to be here on Saturday. So I'm like, if you want to play doubleheader on Saturday, go ahead.
See, there you go. All right, thanks. We'll hope for the best tomorrow. Hopefully the rain holds off and we get this game in. Cubs can maybe even up the series. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, all right. Take care, guys.
See you, bro.
You can read Ryan's stuff, allchgo.com. He has some great articles there, and he'll be working on another one tonight. Meanwhile, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only will you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you get a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, like Ryan stuff, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. I got mine today.
Ooh, so did I.
Haven't tried it on yet, but it looks pretty.
Well, I already had some, but I got my free one from the DMVR sent us.
I mean, nobody has more CHGO swag than Cody.
Yeah, literally.
He's piling up on this stuff.
Yeah.
He's got like 70 bumper stickers now that he's got.
And I got my stickers on my computer.
Yeah, he does. If you have any questions,
shoes too.
They do kind of match.
They do
my
match his shoes.
Yeah.
Hey, any questions? Make sure you email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed an online sign up available in Illinois, you can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account, start to finish, all from your phone, and you'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook. It's easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. So, CHGO, it's been fun so far. The post-game shows like this aren't as much fun. Still got a lot to talk about, but it's not as fun as like an exciting win.
Sometimes it's nice to just sit here and vent. Like
that's true. The
like Robbie's been in the comments,
Robbie
just
is
like
taking
going
over
off
to chat. By the way,
right? He's going off about everything from Ricketts to back to when they were owned by the Tribune,
right? And then he says he used to work for the team. His first paycheck from the Cubs, he bought a bunch of weed and treated his friends.
Like, cool, dude. Like, I'm so glad you're telling
Robbie.
us. Like, he's just vibing in the comments right now.
That was before it was legal.
Yeah. Like, cool, dude. Like, I appreciate you for being here and telling us all this.
And the honesty.
Yeah, and the honesty. You know what I mean?
But it's true. Last night the Bulls win, and we see Peck and Big Dave having a ton of fun, and they're, excited. They're in on every play. And then after games like this, you got to have a little place to talk to your friends about what you saw, things you didn't like. So either way, it works out.
It's good. It's good for your mental health. Because when you're
people.
pissed off,
Don't hold it in. Let it out.
Let it out. So people came to the comments, say, let it out. Ravi came here to tell us his life story. We appreciate it. Now, when the Cubs win tomorrow, bring that same energy.
So we also have the premium written content from Ryan, and now Jared's going to be out there, allchgo.com. We also bring you the dope merch. We talked about that. There's several. There's a Cub design. We got CHGO designs. The bumper sticker on your computer right there. There's another one. You get that free shirt when you become a member, and also the members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge, which is another place to celebrate with your friends or complain with your friends.
Yeah.
And you also will find out we got the big watch party coming for the Bulls game.
Tomorrow,
you're going to be there, right?
I'm going to be there. Me and my girlfriend will be there. I got 5 or 6 friends of my own that are
Bulls,
coming.
Bucks, Game 3, watch party in the West Loop.
Yeah. Come watch the Bulls. Come say hi to me. Say hi to Dave, Peck. Stucky, you coming?
We'll see. It depends on the weather. I don't go out in the rain because I melt. Harley says this is therapeutic for all of us.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
And Michael does point out, kind of forget, we're still missing Miley, Alzolay, and Mills. Listen, I'm not.
That's a point I tried to make.
The world's not ending because they lost to the Pirates. I'm just calling it a disappointing night if you're a Cubs fan because
they
had so many positives in going just 6-6 in the first 12 games. And number 13, many of those positives, the script flipped, and they were striking out like the old Cubs were striking out. Mm-hmm. And they didn't look good against a Pirates team that you would hope that they have a not only winning record against this season, but a decidedly winning record against this season. And so far, they are 1-2 against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. Not if you want to compete for a playoff spot.
He mentions 3 starting pitchers. We haven't really talked about Mark Leiter Jr. I thought outside of the home run to Vogelbach and even the batters after that, he was pretty good. It was a much better start for him compared to Colorado.
But it was like his start in Colorado, right?
It's similar.
Early it looked good, and then it was all right, maybe not. Yeah. So does that tell you that maybe a bullpen role would be better for him?
I feel like, he's one of those guys who could go 1-2 innings, maybe give you that first time through the orders. You know what I mean?
Right.
One
of the bridge guys. They need bridge guys.
I mean, tonight he was able to go through the Pirates lineup twice, or at least close to twice. And again, he only gave up the homer to Vogelbach. He had a few walks in there, whatever. He worked around it. Got a huge double play. I believe it was in the 5th inning. But yeah, I mean, I just like that there was a bounce back from the start in Colorado. And I know it's hard to pitch at Coors Field, but still, it's good to see because he's not going to be in the rotation once those 3 guys come back. And if the Cubs can find a role for him, it'd be great because that's just another addition. So,
how many hits did the Cubs end up with? I know they hit into 2 double plays. It didn't feel like they really had a whole
4. We had
only 4 hits. You get those 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and again, a sacrifice fly. A guy was walked in, and a fielder's choice. 4 hits all night, 12 strikeouts. It was a bad night for the offense. Night for the offense.
For sure.
And it was mostly against the Pirates bullpen.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea could look like that. But maybe that's going to be the strength of their team.
Yeah. Well, and that's just the trend of baseball in general. There's a reason that I've been sitting here saying that we don't need to worry about the bullpen. Well, that's kind of becoming a thing all across baseball where teams are really stacking up on the bullpen to be able to do those multiple innings, and because starters are going less innings. So,
Ravi's just getting crazy there on the chat. Ravi has taken over the chat, and now he's saying this team needs to find its Gary Gaetti, 98 wild card team vibes, and that he'd take Brant Brown over Jason Hayward. We've completely gone off the rails, which is,
I'd take Brant Brown as our hitting coach, even though I do like our hitting coach that we have now, but he's the hitting coach for the Dodgers. They know how to hit.
The spirit of Terry Mulholland lives with this team, he says.
Okay.
See? See this again. This might
This
be the
guy's
weed.
a
This might,
diehard,
Robbie.
at
This
least.
might be the weed.
Yeah.
Who shared
He
it with
might
you
be
this
doing
time?
a little bit of. He might be doing a little
Verilife.
Yeah, like a little bit of both of the weed, and maybe he's had a couple alcoholic beverages tonight too.
Barley pops,
You know,
or
he's
maybe
just going
he's
back and
just-
forth.
yeah.
You know, I
Maybe
actually
he's just a
support it.
happy-go-lucky guy, Robbie.
Yeah.
Come hang out with Cody and the gang at the watch party tomorrow.
Yeah, let's have a good time.
Okay, so if they play this game, and currently I'm not Tom Skilling, but I have done weather on television at one point in my life. Drew Smiley versus Jose Quintana, the Quintana revenge game.
The Quintana
We just got the
revenge
Vogelback
game. 2.0
revenge game, right? So Quintana versus Smiley. Listen, we've had lots of good stories this season. Drew Smiley is been surprisingly good, like really good
Hasn't
so
given
far
up
this
a run
season.
yet.
So let's hope that script doesn't get flipped if they play that game tomorrow. Because I know if there's anything that will send Cody into a deep spiraling spin down the toilet, it would be losing to Jose Quintana and the Pirates 2 games in a row, and the second one coming to Quintana. You couldn't handle it.
I could not know. I would be very pissed off if the Cubs actually play tomorrow against the Pittsburgh Pirates and Jose Quintana. And if Jose Quintana shoves it down our throats again like he did in the first time, I might go spiraling. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be great.
Well, I mean,
That said,
they
though-
struck out 12 times in this first game of the series against the Pirates. Hopefully there will be a different approach and a better at-bats
They had a great
against Jose Quintana.
They had a great approach against Quintana the first time. The Cubs won 2-1 in that game. That was the game Suzuki hit 2 homers. It was the 2 runs. The Cubs were hitting the ball all over the yard that day, but right into gloves. So hopefully, they do the same thing tomorrow. Find some grass, get a lead early, and then just hold it. Like we need. People can complain about the bullpen. Like Ethan Roberts definitely he deserves some blame on the loss tonight. But we need the starters to go at least 5 innings. And that's not even asking for much. Like most teams are needing their starters to go 6. We need our starters to go 5 innings. We need to get that. We need to turn that around. They need to turn that around and get that consistently happening. So Drew Smiley hasn't allowed a run yet. He's gone 5 innings in each of his 2 starts. We need it tomorrow. We need it in a big way tomorrow.
And, if that doesn't happen, then we always can count on story time with Ravi, who says it was cool to drink with Ryan Dempster, watched a Bears game with him by accident back in the day on Southport at Justin's Bar.
Nice.
So that's, Ravi promises if they beat Quintana, good Mark Grace stories.
I look
Well,
forward.
now, based on some of this background we know about Ravi, I think that could be fun.
I need the Cubs to win tomorrow so Ravi comes back and tells us more
The
stories about Mark Grace.
stories. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I think that's a good place to stop it.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping in and checking out the CHGO Cubs postgame show presented by PointsBet. Cubs lose to the Pirates 4-3 in the series opener. They drop to 6-7 on the season. Smiley against Quintana, weather permitting, coming up on Friday. Until then, take care and fly the W.